Hey you guys, it's Moonlander back with another horror movie review, and today we're going to be looking at the new movie The Houses That October Built 2. Now this one currently costs $6.99 to rent, and I originally listed the first movie in my top 5 horror movies to watch on Netflix some time ago. So I was a fan of the original, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good found footage horror movie. And when I saw there was a sequel, I got pretty excited. Like, I didn't watch the trailer or nothing. I just knew I wanted to watch it. So, this movie starts off and you learn that the people who were going around to the haunted houses in the first one are not dead. They've all survived. I don't know why, I just assumed they all died at the end of the first one, but yeah, they're all alive. And in fact, the woman from the original was filmed being buried alive in a coffin for some amount of time, and it was streamed on YouTube and got 24 million views. So this movie takes place a year later, and now these people are somewhat famous. Well, the woman is, and they get offered money to come to haunted attractions as long as the woman comes.
Look who's back. Ready for Halloween Adventures Part 2?
Yep.
We roll through it, we rate it.
Post pictures on social media, and just like I said, it's easy money.
I ended up in the ground last time, guys.
And they have to convince her to do this because she's somewhat traumatized from being buried alive. So all while they're going to these different attractions, they're being stalked by a guy wearing a skull mask, a blue skull mask. So, the things I liked about this one is they do find some interesting haunted attractions to go to. They go to an adult themed one where like people are like telling them they're gonna stick things in their bottom while they're walking through it. I mean, it was pretty weird. And then they do a haunted hayride, and that was actually a pretty cool looking one. Like, people jumped on the cart they were riding on with chainsaws and stuff. They do a 5K zombie run, and it had like a pretty elaborate setup. I mean, it was kind of neat to look at some of the places they go in this movie. So the things I didn't like about this movie is I think the story for this one is pretty much garbage. I think the idea of having all these people survive and pretty much trying to do the same thing, I thought was a really lame idea for a story. The ending of the movie just left me feeling disgusted. I really don't think they put much of any effort into making a story. And now another thing that I thought was a little irritating was they use a drone for getting shots for this movie, and man, they use that thing to death. And they even gift a drone to their cameraman, I guess, in the movie. And even before that point, they're using the drone for shots. And I mean, they use it like as much as they possibly can throughout the whole movie. And I found it to be off-putting. And I also thought that there was some really silly shots of the stalker that's supposed to be following them or whatever. And at one point, I think during the 5K zombie run, there's a helicopter there, and they show this guy like in the helicopter, and I'm just like, what? And then eventually he's like hanging on to the bottom of their RV, just like with his head sticking out behind it. I mean, it was really pretty goofy. And like the original, which in the original it didn't really bother me, but in this one it did. Maybe it was just because I was hoping these people would die. There's no real violence in the movie. I mean, I guess you could say there is some, but I mean, really, there's no violence or gore. It's all just the haunted attraction, whatever their props and gags are. And I mean, really, I don't like that about this movie. And in fact, they include a quote from Marilyn Manson at the beginning of the movie saying how these times aren't more violent. It's just that the violence is televised. And yet there is no violence in this movie. So I don't know why they included that quote at the beginning. I thought that was dumb. So my final thoughts on this movie is if they make another one, I'm not going to watch it. This one is that bad. And just the lack of effort into the story and the ending was just terrible. And yeah, I cannot see me wanting to watch another one if they make one. And I found that really disappointing because I really enjoyed the first one. I thought it was like one of my favorite horror found footage movies. But now, after seeing this one, and it's made by the same people, the same guy directs it who stars in the movie and wrote it. And it's almost making me question whether the first one was really that good. So I'm going to give this movie a 4 out of 10. And the only reason I'm not giving it a 2 is because it was kind of neat to see the different places that they go. So yeah, there is some entertainment value in this, but don't expect much more as far as the story and anything else besides the locations they go to. Alright, you guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next review.